Let's look at a really simple little widget within Architect that enables you to add social media links and buttons. Typically, adding a social media button in Muse meant generating the icon or asset in something like Photoshop and then placing it in Muse and adding a link. You'd have to do that for each individual network and then add links, align them, style them all the same way. It was just kind of a heavy process to work through. If I go over to the widgets panel here and I go down to the social section and I add the social icons widget and drop it right underneath this headline. You can see by default it adds a couple icons in, so we can go ahead and choose the icons we want. I'm going to add an Instagram one, a LinkedIn one, a Google Plus one. Those look pretty good. Next, down below, we just add our social icon links in so we can set those to our individual pages. So that's it for editing the content. Now we go into the design mode. We can choose some different styles. Let's pick this one. There you go. So they match the site a little bit more. We could change the color. So I'm going to make them just maybe a little bit more gray so they're not so bold. That looks good. Next, we'll change the size. So let's leave them about there and the space in between the icons. So we'll spread them out a bit. Okay, last up, we can add a hover effect. So hover effect for desktop if we want to, say, do a little zoom out. Now, if I click zoom out, when I mouse over them, you can see that just kind of subtle, tasteful transition effect there. Lastly, we could add some spacing if we wanted, so just a little bit of padding in the top of this box. I don't need that, it looks good as is. Let's close that window and let's just have a look at how this looks on our tablet device. Perfect, and mobile device looks pretty good. We could actually tweak these specifically for mobile if we wanted to, so I can go ahead and it says change effects mobile, and I can add more space in the icons so they overlap, and more space between. So let's say that looks good, and I'll close that. So now if we jump back to the tablet view and the desktop view, they are as we originally designed it, and we've just tweaked the mobile layout to fit our needs. How easy was that compared to adding each icon one at a time like we had to do in Muse? I'm going to delete that out for a second, so I'll just click the red X in that box. And I'm going to try a different widget. This one is specifically for adding a single icon. So you'll see right here at the top, the icon widget. I'll drag that out, again, put it underneath the title, and it says what kind of icon do we want. We can, of course, upload an SVG, or we can just click choose icon, and you've got this huge library of icons built in. Pretty much everything you could ever imagine needing. So let's pick something, maybe just a simple arrow, a downward arrow like that. Looks good. I'm going to move this box over so we can see it a little better. Now let's add a link to that icon so we can link to an existing page, or we could do, say, a pop-up, an anchor, an email address. So I'm just going to link to the existing page for now. We can, of course, add alt text and tooltip to that icon. Now let's style the design side of it. So we've got a different layout, so you could have it within a circle or in a box, a couple different options predefined. I'm just going to drop the size of it a little. It's a bit big for me. Let's change the color to white. And we've got a border option. I'm going to leave that off. We can set a hover effect again for desktop, so maybe a blur. Let's see. Nah, that doesn't make sense. Let's go forward. So a little forward motion or a floating motion. How about that? Yeah, that's better. Then we can add some more design options. So we could round corners, add a shadow, have a hover icon color. So in addition to that transition effect, we could do a very subtle color change on hover. So there you go. You can see that working. And then next we just have our normal spacing controls. Again, we could click the gear and we can add an entrance animation to that element as well. So in addition to the hover animation, we could have the icon itself animated when it's in the viewport. I think that's good as is, so I'll close that. And you can see how easy it is to add something as simple as an icon using the built-in icon library within Architect. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this demo.